So with the increase in remote work across companies, big and small, we see that the individual user being maybe somewhat more isolated than they were when they were working in an office, they will tend to not make the same decisions. They also may not collaborate in the same ways, especially when it comes to a security issue. If they get an email that doesn't look right, in the old days, they could have had somebody look at it over their shoulder, or they could have gotten up and talked to somebody and said, "Hey, did you get this weird email as well? Or did you know that the boss was out of town and needs money?" So we recognize that the remote work part does isolate individuals. It also makes it harder to defend those individuals because now they are all themselves on networks that we have no visibility to. So whether that user is working from home or working from a coffee shop, we are relying on them to act responsibly when it comes to the use of remote tools. And that's an area that we have worked to educate users to make sure that they are not connecting to a Wi-Fi that looks potentially shady, maybe encouraging them to use their own phone as a hotspot, and then just other data security things, trying not to have sensitive information out in public. And then also just to make sure that they are still adhering to company requirements when it comes to security. So a lot of habits that we have, especially using technology, aren't always the best ideas. We work with users to understand that protecting their devices, preventing people from looking over their shoulder as they're typing security codes, protecting hardware that also gives them access into systems. One particular area that we often see is users will wear a security badge to their building and they'll wear it on their hip in an area that they don't themselves actually see what might happen to it. And with the advent of a lot of scanning tools, attacker could simply walk up and scan that badge without the user being aware. And it's just a simple little change in our behavior rather than wearing it on our belt or on loop of our pants, to tuck it to a pocket, to attach it somehow to a shirt. There's just little changes that you can make to be more secure. You can also reach out with us or reach out to us to discuss other ideas, especially as we will tabletop a potential risk area to help determine the best courses of action for those. Another personal habit that we see that is really impacting our industry is the use of passwords, the same password rather, across all sorts of services, both business and personal. We work with companies to help them understand that password managers are very easy to use, especially with our help. And even something as simple as a password book could help to prevent a lot of the attacks that we see. Attackers can go to areas and get a list, a very long list. We're talking millions of passwords, and they will attempt to breach the security of a service. One very interesting thing was when Disney Plus launched, users within the first 24 hours were reporting that their Disney Plus accounts had been hacked. And it wasn't that they were hacked. It was that in their excitement to watch something on Disney, they used the same password that they had used elsewhere. And that password was already known to the attackers. So having a better password management plan is always important. And it really does rely on the human element and making better personal habits and personal choices. With looking at the future of cybersecurity and how human behavior will play a role in that, we hope to see improvement in the security awareness side of things, where a person is looking a little more closely at emails, where that is both a human and a technical problem, but having that human to act as a firewall is very important to stop the email-based attacks. Also, the human element needs to come into play, where we as a security company trying to help businesses, people needing to understand that this is unfortunately the way the world is, and that we need their support and their help to implement the strategies that we have, to implement the solutions. The pushback that people give us doesn't really do anybody any good, especially when it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when an attack may occur.